Hey, what the def, fam? We back. We got some more Fire Emblem Heroes content for you, and we're going to be talking about power creep today, but not the bad kind of power creep, not the kind of power creep that you're sick of hearing about, that every Fatetuber will just dawn over you that, oh my god, power creep, it's the end of the world. No. We're going to be talking about the good kind of power creep, as in characters that are immune to being power crept. Old characters that have still managed to keep up with the meta, regardless of how fast or how insane the new units are getting. These older units are still good, like genuinely good. This is not cope. Like, these old units are actually able to hold their own even today, and that's mainly because one or two effects that they may have had that were just way too overtuned at the time. So, why don't we go ahead and get started here? We're going to start over here. Also, bear in mind, I wanted to throw a focus on characters that have not refined yet. So that means that these characters, already as good as they are, they still stand to get even better in the future. So keep that in mind. Like, there's a lot of characters, all of them pretty much, none of the characters we're going to show today have a refine yet. So who knows what the future may hold, but we're going to start things off over here with the Duo Dagger from New Year. Now, this unit is awesome, of course, because they give party-wide Pathfinder. Now, just to emphasize with you guys how insane that is, if we go over here and we take a look at the dagger that we just recently got, the aided dagger, they specifically worded it in a way where she can only give ally support Pathfinder to one character at a time. Only one ally who has the highest defense. So you can't tie defense on your team to get it on multiple characters at once. I think that's them going back on what they did here, them realizing, oh wait, maybe giving party-wide Pathfinder is a little bit too much. Maybe we shouldn't do that. So that's why they nerfed that effect over here, not allowing you to get Pathfinder on more than one people at a time. So, yeah, this character was just really overtuned on release and a menace to deal with in summoner duels. Even to this day, they can just pop this duo skill and gain so much control over the middle that they can box you out and prevent you from being able to come back. So, I think this unit's just always going to be good forever, no matter what happens. Same can be said about this unit. Now, how do you deal with giving party-wide Pathfinder? Well, by turning it off, of course. So, this duo button is never going to age out as well. 5 columns and 5 rows, you neutralize the enemy bonuses. That is never going to be bad. In fact, bonuses are just getting better and better as time progresses. We've got Gallop on the new Emblem Sigur, which is movement +2, as if movement +1 wasn't enough. So, as status effects get stronger and stronger, we need a way to counter them, and this is the premier way to do that. Just pop Duo Thor's duo skill, and you're good to go. They also have other effects, too. They can also inflict stall on the enemies with the slowest speed on the enemy team, and chain to enemies in 2 spaces. So that can be really good as a counterpick to a lot of these +1 movement units, especially Emblem Sigurd's Ring, which just randomly gives +1 movement to anybody. If you've got Thor on the team, you could just give the middle finger to that. So this unit is just always going to be good, I think. All right, next up we have Bride Catria, who is also probably always going to be good, unlike the 2 previous units we looked at where they're really only going to be good forever because of their duo skills. This unit is going to be good forever because of her weapon. So, her ability to give triangle attack support to all allies in 2 spaces is nuts, and she had one of the longest reigns as the top meta unit for longer than any other unit, I think. I'd have to double check the facts on that, but I'm pretty sure this was, quote-unquote, the best unit in the game for longer than anyone else. So, her ability, of course, giving brave attacking to allies is very good. That breaks the fundamentals of the game where a lot of brave weapons are nerfed in some way. They have less might, or you got to jump through a bunch of hoops to get the brave attack. Like, there's a lot of conditions behind it. So, being able to just give brave attacking to every single weapon is not what you're intended to be able to do. A lot of these weapons just go over the top once they're able to brave attack. So, this unit is just always going to be good because of that. And we're seeing the resurgence of these armor ball defenses for Aether Raids now, where Joel had one, the corner ball in, what was it, the lava map where he was doing it, and there's actually another one going around now with Marnie on the snow map. This one was made by some Japanese guy, so the armor corner balls are back, and not having enough firepower to bust through those can be a problem. That's where Catria comes in, where she gives triangle attack, and you can just fight like a brave and don't be afraid, pretty much, for your whole team. So this is awesome. All right, and then finally for this section, we have the two ninja duos, the oldest ones. There are, of course, more ninja duos that haven't refined, but the point of this video is to show off the oldest possible units that haven't refined that are still relevant today. Ninja Lin and Ninja Korin are always going to be good arena units because they can score high with their duo skills, and then their damage is enough to get rid of a lot of glass cannon threats, like Brave Felix, for example, and I don't know, Emblem Celica, Emblem Sigur, so on and so forth. These two can definitely tear up those units and then get an extra action out of nowhere. So for arena, that's really good. Being able to pop 2 enemies, that's like taking out half of the enemy team right there on the spot. So they're always going to be really good for arena specifically. There may come a time where they age out once the free-to-play units are scoring like 3 or 4 bins higher than them in circa 3 or 4 years. But for the time being, they have held their ground quite well. So these two are always going to be great arena units, I think. Okay, then we come over here. Now, these units are more so a sign of the times, where they were kind of falling off a little bit, but then something happened that gave them a resurgence into the meta. Now, we're not talking about Catria, for example, because he was a unit that got really lucky with the Refined lottery. Out of nowhere, he just went from 0 to hero. But these characters haven't refined yet, like I said. So them still being able to be solid options and them getting lucky on a passive skill, I think, is more common, because like passive skills are always going to get insanely good and you can give them to whoever, as opposed to a weapon refine, which may only be good in the moment, and then eventually that'll get Powercreep too. So this Dune over here, she stole Brave Hector's weapon, but she uses it better because she's got better stat line, and then she's also a dragon, so she gets dragon skills like High Dragon Wall and so on. But the real thing you want to do with her now is give her Shield Fighter and give her Pavis. So she can tank pretty much any near attacking threat. She's a really good near save now, and really the main near saver or near attacking threat you want to be able to handle is Brave Felix, and she's got color advantage on him with a solid res stat that can deal with his adaptive damage. So Duo Idun here, or not Duo Idun, but Ascended Idun, I think, actually fell into a good spot now with the resurgence of armors and all the things she was already able to do. Same with this unit over here. This one is a little different, though, because she's focusing on speed, which is another good way to play armor defenses. Like, we've seen this on the not Bride Fiorm. Who was it? The Ice Tribe Fiorm. That one where she's got a lot of speed, and that allows her to avoid getting hit by double attacks or brave attacks. So her being able to do that, coupled with Shield Fighter and Pavis or Aegis, allows them to tank really good. So having a lot of speed, being able to speed stack on your armored units is nice. And we're getting better dragon inheritable weapons too, like the Arcane... Which one did the Arcane Lumera had? I can't remember the name of that weapon, but that one is pretty much better than Arcane Grima, so you would want to go for that instead. And there's also the New Year Kana weapons. Both of them are pretty solid with true DR based on attack or based on speed. One of them has null follow-up as well. So those are great weapons. This Grima just ate really good from a bunch of inheritable skills that have been coming out. So she's a pretty solid unit right now, as long as you've got the right kit. This unit is a very interesting case where she was really dead on arrival when she came out. She was just distance stance fodder at the time. But as things have progressed, and like I said, as these passive skills have been getting more and more bananas as time goes on, you look at this unit now, and it's like, bro, where is it? There we go. You look at this unit now, and it's like, she has a pre-charged Miracle. She's got Lagu's Friend, which stacks pretty good. Her defense and res are solid. You can give her Breath of Life. You can give her a bunch of things, actually. You give her Canto Curb. You give her, I don't know, if you want stats, you go for, like, Def Res Incited or whatever. Actually, is that even a skill yet? I don't think Def Res Incited is a skill yet. It is not. Okay, so forget I said that. But there's a lot of good skills you can give her, regardless. And her just having that Miracle to come back to life, it's only once per map, but that may be subject to change when she gets her refine, because keep in mind, Life Unending will refine as well as her weapon. So who knows, maybe they take out that once per map condition and it's just once per combat. This unit is going to be a menace, and she already kind of is low-key. Like, if she's got the right support, if you're giving her a bunch of good status effects like Incited and Bonus Doubler and so on and so forth, it's actually really annoying to get rid of her. Mainly because of Life Unending bringing her back and then giving her full health. So this unit is still a pretty good wall. Well, maybe not still, but recently has become a very threatening wall. So her being in Hall of Forms may be a good thing right now. Okay, then we have, of course, Adelard, an example of another form of skill that's never going to get power crept, which is additional actions. So this unit can take 3 actions in a turn with Gale Force. Raging Storm gives them 1. They have their own action from their regular attack. And then Gale Force would be another action. People have been speculating we're going to get an anti-extra action effect. It's similar to like Kanto Curb, where if the enemy gets an extra action, you just turn it off. Maybe once that happens, then like Raging Storm and bonus action effects are going to fall off a little bit. But as things stand right now, that's never going to age out. And there are a bunch of glass cannons. Like we said earlier with these 2 ninja heroes, there's a lot of meta glass cannons that can easily be bopped, and then you can take advantage of extra actions with that. So as long as there's stuff that they can get rid of, they're always going to be useful. And then finally, we have Emblem over here. Oh my god, Severance. What an overtuned skill this was. I remember on release, I was just flabbergasted by how good this was. And, of course, it's aged really good now with the resurgence of these armored units. So, being able to do, undefended and feud to enemies is pretty good. Not only that, she also nullifies her own penalties at the start of the turn. Like, that's so extra, man. That's like Endless Tempest having lull built in. Or like Soaring Guidance and Guidance 4 having null follow-up support. It's like, why? We don't even need that. Why is that there? But it's there. So Severance just slaps even harder. And what's really good about her, too, is that her debuffs are very unique. I don't think there's any other character besides the Emblem units that do Undefended and Feud as a debuff. So that's very good against a unit like a Toon Micaiah, who can only penalty cleanse 2 debuffs at a time. So if you're stacking a bunch of debuffs, then you can really get some good mileage out of Severance. There's Brave Robin, of course, she does Panic and Hush Spectrum. Toon Micaiah herself, she does Discord and a bunch of debuffs there. There's like Sabotage and things like that. There's a lot of debuffs you can stack now. So overloading on a bunch of debuffs is one of the ways you can get around a Toon Micaiah. So Emblem having 2 very unique penalties is very good for her. All right, and then finally, we're going to come to support tier level, where these characters are just always going to be good because of their support abilities. Now, dancers, of course, get the nod here, and particularly dancers with bonus actions. So, Hatari Azura, she has her harmonic skill to extra dance characters from Fates and Path of Radiance. This guy's duo skill surprisingly aged even better than anyone would have guessed. Him being able to use reposition with it not counting as an assist, who would have thought that would have been a thing to age well? But all of a sudden now, Brave Felix, if you use an assist on him, it negates his B skill. So what do? You just repo him without it counting as an assist. So Duo Sigurd's duo skill, I've always actually been very high on this duo skill. It's not overtly broken like something like this, where, yeah, party-wide Pathfinder, that's so dumb. Like, that's Eat Glue level of broken. But reposition, this is very subtle, and it's also very tactical. I really like what they did with this duo skill. It's also reusable as well, so it's not a one-and-done thing. You can use this a bunch of times in a fight. So I really like Duo Sigurd. I've always liked his duo skill. He doesn't have a unique dance, though, unlike this Azura here, so he loses a little bit of points from that. But still, being a Cav-type dancer, 3 mobility, and then being able to go ahead and do this assist right here is very good. So he's never going to age out, I don't think. And then we have Harmonic Dortha. She's the same deal as this Azura. She's got a Harmonic second dance, so 3 houses and FE4. Very stacked rosters, can get extra actions. And what's also good about her is she's a flyer, so she gets all the good flyer support skills like Guidance 4, Soaring Guidance, even Soaring Echo you can give to this unit. so that's very good. And then we have Legendary Ninian here, who's a really good dancer as well. She gives the extra action to herself, though. So you dance on an ally, and then if it's turn 2 onwards, then Ninian can move again, which is very good. Just action economy is good, and also it's good for Gale Force chains and all of that sort of thing. She's also a legendary hero, too. So, yeah, this unit is just never going to age out, I don't think. And the same thing can be said with this Mythic Asker over here. He's a Light Blessing special slot hero, so that's always going to be good. You could just toss him on the team in slot 6, and you're good to go. And his support is never going to age out, giving party-wide pulsing. Like, that's just... Like I said, in Aether Raids where you're running Gale Force strats, like Gale Force itself, or AoE specials where you want to get a lot of cooldown reduction, this guy is always going to be handy. And then he's also just giving Resonant Blades and Resonant Shields, too. So, and he's also raising stats as well. He does +5 HP and +5 defense, which, again, is very good for Aether Raids. So he's always going to be a good unit. And then finally, we have this section over here. These are more so like honorable mentions, where these guys, they do one specific thing. They're really specialized in what they do. This guy, for example, is just the action economy unit. He's got his duo button, and then he's got to change fate. So he can give you a little bit of an edge there with actions in SD. But also, he has the cooldown pulsing support as well, just like Asker. He has to go to change fate to do it, but it's still there. It's still an option. So he could be a good unit just for the cooldown reduction for allies, which is never going to be a bad effect. This guy over here is our only free-to-play stall unit. So we talked about one already. Stall is very good because there's a lot of +1 movement effects, like the Sigur ring, for example. So being able to turn that off is very good. He can also blow something up, too. It's very good that he ended up being infantry. So he gets access to stuff like Breath of Life 4, Canto Curb. So he's not just standing there doing one thing. Like, he's actually contributing in more than one way outside of just stall. So that's pretty good for him. This one is a little bit more questionable. I think more people are going to be on my case about this one than anything else we looked at. But Isolation has got to be the most devastating status effect for Summoner Duels specifically, where we already talked about it, but extra actions from assists are very common, and being able to just turn that off is a game changer in Summoner Duels. If you do this, this is like game-ending levels of support or debuff right there. So them being able to do this, I'm pretty sure theirs is reusable as well. Let me just quickly pull that up. I think it's at the start of every 3rd turn. Let me just make sure that we're not getting this wrong here. Yeah, once Duo Skill cannot be activated at the start of every 3rd turn, though, you can use it again. So, yeah, reusable Isolation Duo Skill, very good. You can use this up to 2 times in SD, which is very good. And then them being a flyer, they can fly over any obstacle. So there's no way to like wall them out based on what the map is. They're just always available. Pretty good. Isolation, very good. And then finally, we have Legendary Myrr. She stands to get genuinely good, breaking out of honorable mentions here once she gets a refine. But for now, it's just really the Warp Bubble that she does, and her being a dragon, getting access to all the good dragon skills now, like High Dragon Wall. Well, I mean, she already has Warp Bubble. You probably don't want High Dragon Wall. So, Dragon Scales, rather, which is a worse shield fighter for dragons. There's also Dragon's Roar. There's also... What A skill would you want to give her? Maybe like Fortifications or something like that. So, Myrr is actually one of those units that aged a lot better thanks to passives that have been releasing, but then also she has her own unique thing that she does, which is Warp Bubble, that not a lot of other units can do. So, yeah, these guys are in honorable mentions here, but I feel genuinely good about these over here, these 15 here. They haven't refined, but they're probably just going to be good until this game dies. So, that's going to wrap us up for this video, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed taking a look at some units that are just that badass despite not refining yet. Who knows what's going to happen when they refine, but man, that's definitely going to be some fun times. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will catch y'all again on the flip side.